Hey guys, it's Lindsay, and today, as you can tell by the title, is going to be a video all about graphic design, art supplies, and things like that. And that just makes me really happy because if you aren't aware, I'm a graphic design major and I'm currently a junior, so I've been doing it for a while. Hopefully this will help you guys out if you are trying to get into graphic design, trying to get into calligraphy, applying to an art school and don't know what to buy or ask your parents. Just good things to stock up on, or just see what kind of personal things that I prefer. But before we get into the details and all of the fun physical things, this video is actually sponsored by Squarespace, and I'm really excited about this collaboration because I have been needing to make a website of my own for a while, but it's quite daunting, especially as someone who's taken web design. It's difficult. They just make it really easy, which is so nice, and it's just an all-in-one platform, and you can use it for making an online store or just like having a nice place for your online portfolio, which is what I intend to do. And I can't wait to show you guys my website once it is done, but I am currently working on it. If you want to start a free trial of your own, be sure to click the link below. And if you want 10% off a purchase, just use squarespace.com/lindseyrem. Now onto the art supplies. I'm gonna be starting with like the most basic necessary things and then leading up to a little more intense like technology and whatnot, because I do have an iPad Pro and I get a lot of questions about it. So I was hoping I could answer most of those today. But we're gonna start off on the more physical end of things. First things first, definitely a good sketchbook is a must. This is from the brand Canson. I just get them at the art store and they're my favorite. I have a larger size one in my backpack that was in my what's in my backpack video. I get a lot of questions on what kind of pens I like to use whenever I like show inked drawings of mine, and typically I will use either Faber-Castell or Micron pens. So they're pretty much the same thing, just two different brands that I really like and trust, and they come in a ton of different thicknesses. So like this one is pretty thin, but this one is like the width of a hair. And I just keep them in this tiny ColourPop My Little Pony case and just take them with me wherever I need them. But they're great, and if you take care of them and like store them upside down, they will not dry out as fast as other pens. That is one thing that is nice about kind of pricier pens. If you're already studying graphic design, you definitely have one of these, but it is an X-Acto knife, and this one has a little gold barrel and gold edge tip to it. I think it was just the only one they're selling at the store, but I think it's the prettiest one I've ever had. I usually just buy the really basic, like all silver kind. X-Acto knives really come in handy when it comes to printing out projects and cutting them out. You have to get that nice clean edge, and so you have to keep them sharp. And I usually just keep this in my backpack at all times because you never really know when you need to cut something. If you leave it somewhere in the art room, it like might get snagged because people are always using them, and it happens. You gotta hold on to those. And definitely also pick up some extra blades. This is a wonderful thing to just have on hand. You can't talk about X-Acto knives without talking about rulers, and I actually have 3 here because I'm crazy. This first one is a clear one with a metal edge that I got on Amazon, and I bought it because my professor says his favorite kind are these ones, and I do like it, but I think my personal favorite is a nice like flexible metal ruler with a cork back. As you can tell, it's seen some better days. If you're cutting with an X-Acto knife, the metal edge is just like a lot easier to get close to it. And then also if you're using like a Micron pen next to an edge that's plastic, sometimes it can seep under it and then like your line won't be straight. And that's the worst. Next up, probably one of my favorite things I own, and that is my mini ruler. And this is so great when you are just making little tiny straight edges, because if you were doing like a small like lettering piece, you're not gonna just bring out a giant ruler. Like this can fit in your purse, you can take it wherever you need to. I feel like it just comes in handy more than I think it does, and I really like it. It's just a mini version of this one, and I picked it up at the art store, but I'm sure you can find it online. Everything's online. I'm sure you can find it. As usual, I will attempt to link everything in the description if you want to find like the specific items I've talked about. I always like to do that, so I will definitely try. Next up, this is probably the most random, but it is a bone folder. And if you've never heard of this, I don't blame you, but if you plan on doing any paper folding, or just like if you print like a booklet and you want like a folded edge, it just gives you such a nice like perfect flat folded edge. It's kind of like as if you were using like a credit card to flatten it out, but it just is a lot softer plastic. If you've been working on like a project for like an entire month, you finally print it out on expensive paper, you don't want to just fold it over and turn it in. Like, you want that edge to be like nice and crisp and just look perfect. And so this is definitely one of those things that's just random but nice to have. These next things might not apply to everyone, but if you are in a marker class, I would definitely recommend Prismacolor markers. This is the set that I have. I think it's potentially 72. It's been a while, but this is what it looks like, and it's kind of just every color of marker you would ever need. I think there are some extras in here. I personally did take a marker class, so I learned how to like shade with markers and like draw a comp of a digital project and like color it in physically. And I think that that's a really honestly great skill to have. I like didn't really appreciate it as much back then as I do now looking back. This is how many they required us to have. And if you are unaware, Prismacolor markers are so expensive. Like, I believe this was over $100, but I'm a junior now and I've had it since freshman year, and all of these work just as well as the day I bought them. Like, and I've taken full classes, I've made full pieces with it, and they're still working amazingly because that's what they're supposed to do. That's why they're expensive. And if you're wondering like why these are so expensive, what's so nice about them, it's really just this style of marker. And this style of marker is expensive because they're alcohol based, so they have to dry really fast and like lay down in a way that they can like be blended together, and they just act differently than other markers. Like, you can't blend with a Crayola marker, whereas these ones just like can seamlessly blend and like shade multiple layers on top of each other. Also, in that marker class that I took, we also had to have a set of cool gray markers. So as you can see here, it is a full range of black all the way to super light gray markers. And these are basically if you are doing like thumbnail sketches, like for a finished project, say like a logo, you would go through like a rendition of like pencil sketches, and then the next one would be like an ink outlined sketch of your drawing. But if it's just all outlined in pen, like, you can't really see the shades, like the lights and the darks. So this is a good way to show where the lights and the darks will be in your project without necessarily going straight into color, because if you present a project in color, people tend to have a lot of opinions on color, and that can like make them choose one thumbnail over another. So if they're just showing like where the different darks and lights would be, it's more likely to get like an even I don't know, critique of them, if that makes any sense. Next up, we got some physical things. If your school or wherever you're at tends to print, this is the paper that we buy. It's from Epson, and Epson matte presentation paper. This is 3-star. 3-star is whack. I buy 4-star to 5-star if I can. 3-star is good for like if you're printing something really thin, just like for a critique. But personally I just don't like how flimsy it is. But this is the gorgeous matte paper that most printed like prints are on. If you like buy a print and it's matte and gorgeous, it was probably printed on a presentation matte paper. But I'm also personally asking for this for Christmas because it is kind of expensive. I think like each piece of paper ends up being like $1 or $2, which is just annoying, but it will make your work look a lot more professional. Okay, I just pulled this out from under my bed because I had a feeling some was under there. But if you are printing projects, you will most likely have to put it onto black mounted board for like turning it in for critiques. First off, having the matte boards, and I have a ton here, I'll show you them, but also spray mount is an important thing. Any brand works, but spray adhesive so that you can spray the back of your printed piece, stick it on, present it, and then peel it off later. This was a museum redesign I did, so this is the branded kind of advertising for it. This was like a magazine ad and then a outside banner. This is not one of my favorite projects I've done, but I really loved the color palette. I think it's really nice. And then there's also a little postcard on the bottom and a museum teacup that you could buy at this fake gift shop. First piece of technology I want to talk about is my light board. This I just bought on Amazon. They tend to be pretty cheap. I think mine was like $30, and it's for tracing. So like, let's say you're making a logo, you can put multiple pieces on top of it and like change aspects about it and just like keep working on the same thing until it's perfect, which is just fantastic. So I love this thing, and it is just touchscreen. So you can touch the button to make it brighter or turn it off. It comes in handy a bunch, and as you can tell, it's like has a ton of like scratches and markers on it, but I love it. And then last technology thing I wanted to talk about is my Apple iPad Pro. This is like the best thing that has happened to me in the art world in years. Everything about it, like I could literally just go off about how much I love it for such a long time, because it allows you to do all like the sketching and tracing of your own work without having to do it physically. So it just like reduces a lot of waste in terms of like papers, and it just makes everything so much easier. Like let's say you're drawing something and you're like, oh, the hand's too small. What you can do on here is like circle that part of the layer, make it bigger, and like it blows my mind, because none of that used to be possible when you're doing things physically. I've definitely posted a lot of the things that I have made using it on my design Instagram, so if you want to check that out, feel free to. But I'll just show you one thing I did, is this poster for my house. So it says Emo Girls Club. You can see that this is what I started with, and I actually posted a video of me drawing this on my design account. But basically, you can just digitize your work to fit the dream you have of it so much faster than using Illustrator. I also want to say that I have used the kind of tablets that you connect to your computer, and there is no screen. You just kind of like use a pencil and look at the computer screen, and I have had nightmares with them. Like I have had such a hard time getting used to it, whereas the iPad has a much easier learning curve. I feel like it just feels super natural if you are someone that like already draws a lot. Like the whole pressure sensitivity is just amazing. Like if you press down harder, the lines get thicker, and you can just totally get used to the way that that feels. And you can also turn it off if you want to. So yeah, this thing is amazing. It is obviously pricey. It is not a necessity, but it is truly an incredible piece of technology, and I would recommend it if all of that sounds good to you and if it's in your budget. I bought the small size, and it fits in my little red backpack that I wear all the time. If you like follow me on Instagram, if you're familiar, it's like this little tiny red backpack that I just love to wear, and it fits in there, and that to me is just like the ultimate convenience. Like this thing is not only amazing, powerful, just mind-blowing, it is so small and compact. Yeah, I really just love it, and I could talk more about it, but I won't, because I know that that's a lot. So that is everything I have to talk about today. Thank you guys so much for watching and allowing me a platform to talk about all the different things that I love. If you do want to see more of my design projects, like I said, I have a design Instagram. It is just lindseyrem design, and you can see a lot more of what I'm working on. I've posted my finals on there. Also, don't forget to check out Squarespace with the link below for a free trial, or use my name, squarespace.com/lindseyrem, for a percentage off on your first purchase. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Bye guys!